Good evening, one and all. It is the Speed Learner, and once again, I went to the North Pole, and I went with one of my special agents, codenamed the Rat, and she and I talked with Santa Claus about his assembly line. I just got back from the North Pole. Let me tell you something. When it comes to economy class on an airline, you don't really want to have that. So, anyway, sitting there in cramped quarters, I was thinking about this conversation that the Rat and I had with Santa Claus about his assembly line this year. And amongst all the wonderful things that were actually produced and set up and put in the sleigh this year, there were a few things that did not quite make it into the sleigh. And I bet you can pretty much figure out why when you start hearing about this. Yes, the first thing that did not quite make it off of Santa's assembly line was the solar-powered Christmas tree. You can just about imagine what the two problems of that is. Number one, solar panels are kind of heavy, so the trees were kind of toppling to the side. But the ones that were strong enough to hold those solar panels were kind of in danger themselves, because you see, when sunlight hits a dry tree, it ignites it and it turns it into a towering inferno. Not exactly something you want in somebody's house over Christmas time. Okay, so what else didn't make it across Santa's assembly line? Well, that would be the skateboard surfboard. That's right, folks, the skateboard surfboard. Now, you say, well, what was the problem with that? Well, first of all, you're talking about the weight of skateboard wheels. Now, you try to put that thing on water and it's going to go imbalance and you're going to go in the water and you're not going to surf anywhere. Not to mention the fact that the wheels are made of metal and, of course, they rust. So you aren't going to skateboard that thing for very long. Again, yeah. All right. How about the wind-powered train? Well, usually if you're in somebody's house with a toy wind-powered train, it's not going to go very far because you actually have to blow on it like you would with one of those little wind wheels, you know, those pinwheels you have. Now, if you go outside with the train, of course, you got to deal with the elements. That's bad enough. Yeah, it doesn't look good, not to mention the fact that it would have to be so huge, and you know, your train's going forward while this thing's spinning. Yeah, the blades fly off and there you go. So it's not exactly something you want under your Christmas tree. Alright, how about the Tempertantrum Doll? Let me tell you something, there was a bunch of elves this year that went neurotic trying to deal with the Tempertantrum Doll. Needless to say, they did not make a whole bunch of these, because if they had, we would have a whole bunch of elves seeking psychiatric treatment. I don't think you want that. Okay, how about the hover ballet slippers? Yeah, that really worked out well. We had kids floating everywhere, bumping into ceilings, bumping into walls. Exactly not the kind of thing you'd want. Although it's kind of fun to do neat tricks with ballet slippers that hover over the ground, on the other hand, you have the problem with kids bumping into everything, including the kitchen table that has been set for Christmas dinner. Not the kind of thing you want under the Christmas tree. Alright, and then we had the Aerodynamic Baseball with biodegradable bat. Yeah, the Aerodynamic Baseball, you throw the thing, the guy hits it, and you never see it again. Not exactly the kind of baseball you want. Not to mention the fact that the biodegradable bat. One good rainstorm and the thing is no longer in existence. So needless to say, those did not make off the assembly line. The Goldfish Bank. Now you would say, well, what's the problem with the Goldfish Bank? Well, remember that your coins are metal, and if they sit in the Goldfish Bank long enough, plankton will start growing on them, not to mention the fact that they will rust and they'll be no good. Not exactly. And besides, you're disturbing the goldfish. The goldfish chew on this stuff. It's not good for their health either. Alright. What else didn't make it? The Samurai Nutcracker. Need I say more? Hi-ya! Yeah, nuts going everywhere. Right. I don't think so. Alright, another thing that did not make it off the assembly line was the candy cane rice cakes. Ever eaten a candy cane rice cake? Ugh. Right. Alright. And how about the Doberman Attack Plush Dog? Yeah, that didn't quite sell too well. I mean, terrify the kids. Are you kidding? No, I don't think so. So anyway, those were the things that did not quite make it off of Santa's assembly line this year. We will keep you posted from the North Pole as we continue to work with Santa Claus. I am able to work with him teleconference-wise through my internet, so we're trying to keep him from drinking too much spiked eggnog like he did a couple of years ago, which made the entire Christmas thing a mess. And yes, we have been dealing with those penguins as well. They are not going to get those reindeer to strike this year. No, no, no. We've already set up the negotiations. We've already set up the contract. So do not worry. The presents are going to come. Except for the ones that I just listed, which I guarantee you no one's ever going to see. At least we're going to try to make sure nobody ever sees. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned.